Hi everyone, welcome. This is the third class in our series I'm calling Nature All Awareness. And this one is on fire. The last one was wind. So I've called this Fire is in Our DNA, and you'll see why. But if you look up the word fire in any dictionary, they all have basically the same definition. Combustion or burning, in which substances combine chemically with oxygen from the air and typically give out bright light, heat, and smoke. But when we speak of fire, we're really talking about the sun. That's where all fire comes from. And the sun is just a very hot ball of gas. Two gases, as a matter of fact, hydrogen and helium. But its gravity holds the entire solar system together, keeping everything from the biggest planets to the smallest particles of debris in its orbit. The connection between sun and earth drive the seasons, oceans, currents, weather, climate, and we wouldn't be here without it. So fire via the sun is in our DNA. Here on Earth, though, fire exists in the form of lightning and has for millennia. And we certainly understand that here in California as we approach the fire season every year. But as far as man-made fires go, scientists don't agree, but they think we possibly were able to start our own fires around 40,000 years ago, as evidence was found across Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Africa. And that signals a huge turning point in our evolution as a species. Besides bipedalism, where we stood up and began walking on 2 feet, the discovery of fire established a crucial distinction between our ape ancestors and homo sapiens. As you may know, we are the only species on the planet that cooks food, and our bodies, our brains, and our intelligence have adapted directly from that single thing. So that's another way that fire is in our DNA. And here's why. Other primates who eat raw food have to spend approximately half of their waking hours just chewing. And the rest of the time is spent foraging for food and digesting. So they didn't really have time for anything else. And sure, cooked food tastes better, but the really amazing thing is that our bodies consider it pre-digested. And this adaptation led to a number of significant evolutionary changes, such as a smaller jaw, smaller teeth, a smaller gut. And while those things shrunk, our brain actually grew in size. Normally, brain size correlates directly with energy use, but the human brain is special. Although it weighs only 2% of the body, it uses 25% of all the energy that your body requires to run every day. And that's what keeps our 86 billion neurons firing. Another way fire is in our DNA. So scientists posit, with our pre-digested food and larger brain, we were free to do so much more, so many more interesting things with our time, other than just thinking about food, gathering food, and digesting food. And we went from a foraging society to an agricultural civilization, eventually with grocery stores, refrigerators, electricity, and all those things that nowadays allow us to get all the energy we need for one meal at maybe a fast food restaurant. And scientists actually think that if we lost the ability to cook food and make our own fire, that our species would die off because it would take so long to adapt back to eating a raw food diet. And I know there are people who claim that the raw food diet is better for them, and that could be, but they are obviously going to be spending a lot more time chewing. At least they don't have to spend so much time foraging, because that would really drive us back to the cave age. But another way fire is in our DNA is through our tribal customs. Almost every race, tribe, or religion has had a sun god, from the Mayan to the Maori, from the Egyptian to the Inuit, normally representing creativity, power, strength, and life. The indigenous peoples of Northern California, including the Yurok, the Karuk, and the Hupa, used fire to make intentional burns on their lands, and they were called fire lighters, not firefighters. In their culture, they honored fire and actually thought of it as medicine. As they describe it, it would chew out the underbrush and lick the moss off the trees. It would blister the hazel stalks and coax new, strong shoots that would be gathered and woven into baskets. And it would tease the tan oak acorns to drop. It would burn the invasive plants that suck up the rain, letting more clean, cool water flow through the black into the watershed and down the Klamath River for the salmon. And soon all the black will be dotted with bear grass and huckleberries pushing up for sunlight. And even sooner, animals will flock here to roll in the ash, a California dust bath. And I think the way they describe it, you can really appreciate their honor and their love for fire. However, in its inestimable wisdom, the Forest Service forbade the intentional burning of land about 100 years ago, until they realized that it was actually harming the environment, and they began allowing the indigenous peoples to burn small areas of land starting in 2018. Unfortunately, it was too late for one tribe as disaster came from the small mountain community of Happy Camp, California, on an unseasonably warm morning last September. The Slater Fire raged through the ancestral heart of the Karuk tribe in the Klamath Mountains near the Oregon border on the 8th of September. The tribe, known for its deep knowledge of cultural burning and forest management, saw almost 200 homes in their community of 1,000 go up in flames. So it's clear to me that if you don't honor fire, it will burn you. Which leads me to my experience with fire. In my accident, the gas tank exploded in our car after it was hit from behind by another car late one night on the highway on our way out to Long Island, and I was burned over 25% of my body. Unfortunately, it was mostly visible parts, my hand and my face, and it took a long, long time to heal. But I was very, very lucky. I didn't actually lose any limbs or functionality, just my sense of smell, which actually sometimes is a blessing. But as we've said so many times, things that seem bad or good can morph into their opposite. And the healing that occurred after that fiery accident is exactly what brought me to this practice. And a very different understanding of the potential as human beings. Because I have survived so much, I actually don't have a lot of fear. And I understand how strong we can be and how much capacity we have within us that we might not recognize until we are challenged. For example, during this pandemic, that strength has helped me cope and hopefully provided a model for others so that they can cope as well. But even I have my moments of worry and doubt and sadness. It's only natural. It doesn't do any good to ignore what we feel. And of course, that's what mindfulness is all about. But I tell you this story for one reason. We all have inherent, unrealized potential. We all have fire within us. If you had asked me the day before the accident if I think I would have been able to survive such a thing, there is no way I would have said yes. But obviously that potential was there. I just didn't know it. And there's a wonderful talk by Thich Nhat Hanh that exemplifies this exactly. So you may remember in the session we did on Beginner's Mind where I quoted Thich Nhat Hanh's speech from Looking Deeply into the Nature of Things, where he talked about when he held up this white piece of paper and he said, you can see in this piece of paper the sun, the water, the rain, the earth, the leaves, the dust, everything is in this one piece of paper if you look deeply enough into it. And he does a similar talk holding up a matchbox. And I know none of us have matchboxes anymore, but you'll have to imagine him holding one up. And he says, this is a matchbox. If you look into the matchbox, you can see the flame. You know that the flame is there, hidden somewhere in the matchbox. You cannot say that the flame is not there. It is somehow there. It has not manifested yet, but we cannot qualify it as non-existent. It needs one or two conditions in order to manifest, and that is true with everything. When we look deeply outside the box, we know the flame is there. Outside the box, there is oxygen. And we know without oxygen, the flame can never manifest. And it may be in my fingers. In my fingers, I can offer the last condition for the flame to manifest. When you look deeply, you'll see things other people don't see. And you can talk to the flame. You can say, "Dear little flame, I know you are there even before your manifestation." And you can hear the flame say, "Yes, I am here. Dear little flame, I will bring another condition for you to manifest. I know you are there. Manifest yourself." And then you strike the match on the box and the flame manifests itself. Before its manifestation, you could not say that the flame did not exist. That's why, before it has not manifested, you cannot say it didn't exist. And the same is true when it no longer has manifested. So I think what Thich Nhat Hanh is saying and what my fiery accident taught me and what all of these talks are about is that we can't control many things, such as the election or the pandemic, or if we get into an accident. But we can manifest the fire, the resilience, the strength, and the resolve to survive and thrive. And when we look deeply into the nature of things, we can see untapped potential, and we can manifest that in our daily lives. And a mindfulness practice is definitely one of the ways we can bring it to light. You can think of it this way. Every moment is already full of causes and conditions before we arrive. And even though our part may be quite small, yet our action may play a significant part. Our small action may be the part that leads to the manifestation of a flame or anger or joy. So in any situation, we must ask ourselves, what is the most skillful action I can offer, given the causes and conditions that exist? So I do think mindfulness has two benefits that help us in this. And first is that it cultivates a sense of acceptance of what is in this present moment. And that, aligned with the curiosity, brings a clarity and compassion to your understanding that allows you to be creative. And part of that, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, is being able to look deeply into the nature of things without fear, but with curiosity and a beginner's mind. So the thing to remember is all of these earth elements are just energy. And energy is movement, and movement is change. And all energy comes from the sun, and we have a sun inside us. Our energy that we cultivate, our energy that we show up with every day, that we radiate out to others every day in our practice, we can cultivate our own sun god, representing our own creativity and strength. And that is surely already within us. We just need to strike the match. So as I do, I'll leave you with two wonderful quotes, one from Carl Jung. "The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through fire." And from Jorge Luis Borges, "Time is the substance from which I am made. Time is a river which carries me along, but I am the river. It is a tiger that devours me, but I am the tiger. It is a fire that consumes me, but I am the fire." So thank you all, and remember, there is a fire within you, and if you look deeply into the nature of things, you will find that you have the potential to manifest that fire through your actions on a daily basis. So I'm going to play a recording of a wonderful fire, and we shall meditate to that lovely sound. Thank you so much.